The marble floors of Wintermere Conservatory shimmered beneath the early morning light, polished to a perfect sheen thanks to the quiet dedication of Marisol Vega. Her cart rolled soundlessly across the tiles, the mop handle balanced carefully across the top, a bottle of lemon oil polish tucked into the front pouch of her plain blue apron. The hush of dawn inside the conservatory was almost sacred, and she respected that silence, becoming a part of it, moving like breath, unseen, unnoticed. Marisol had worked here for nearly 8 years. She knew every creak of the auditorium's ancient stage, every stubborn smudge on the third-floor rehearsal mirrors, and every loose tile that caught the toes of students too busy clutching sheet music and Stradivarius cases to notice where they were stepping. They never saw her. Not really. She was background, part of the landscape they moved through. But Marisol saw them. Every day. Every late-night practice. Every whispered breakdown in the locker room. Every trembling bow held before a jury of peers. She noticed the nerves, the brilliance, the entitlement, the desperation. And sometimes, when the conservatory emptied out and the echo of notes no longer bounced from wall to wall, she would linger. Studio 4, tucked between the choral chamber and the percussion wing, had an upright piano that hadn't been tuned in years. She'd sit on the bench, run her fingers gently across the chipped keys, and hum melodies she thought she'd forgotten. And on rare nights, if the wind outside was soft and the air in the hall was still, she'd reach into the back of the supply closet where she kept an old violin wrapped in a towel, the varnish cracked but the strings still whole. Her hands remembered. Her heart always had. Once, Marisol Vega was supposed to be a violinist. A real one. Concert halls, evening gowns, applause. That dream had died on a stage in Valencia when she was 22. Stage fright. A frozen hand. A blurry sheet of music she couldn't read through the tears. One failure was all it took. She packed up the violin in her pride, moved to London with her daughter Camila, and took the first steady job she could find. Cleaning was quiet. Safe. No one expected brilliance with a mop in hand. But this morning, something was different. Buzz pulsed through the halls. Clusters of students whispered excitedly outside the recital room. She's here. In person. Miranda Fallon? No way. Marisol paused, wiping her hands on a cloth. Miranda Fallon. The name alone could make seasoned performers tremble. A legendary violinist once dubbed the Ice Empress for her technical brilliance and glacial critiques. Now retired from touring, she taught master classes few dared attend and reviewed performances with the precision of a scalpel. Marisol had read her reviews. Brutal. Unfiltered. Honest. Curiosity nudged her feet toward the auditorium. She crept around the side corridor and slid through the back door, settling into the furthest corner. Her apron was still tied at her waist, her hair pulled back in a bun dusted with polish. She hoped no one noticed. Inside, students sat straight-backed, instruments poised. Miranda stood tall at the front, her white hair twisted into a sleek bun, dressed in black slacks and a tailored jacket that looked more like it belonged on a military commander than a violinist. Her voice was sharp and cold. "I'm not here to praise mediocrity," she said. "Play something worth hearing." One by one, students took the stage. Some wavered. Some soared. Most fell somewhere in between. Marisol watched silently, heart heavy with something she didn't have a name for. Not envy. Not regret. Something deeper. Something quieter. Then a snicker broke the reverent hush. "Maybe the cleaning lady can do better," a student muttered near the front. Laughter followed. Miranda's head snapped toward the back of the room. Her eyes landed on Marisol. "You," she said. Marisol froze. "You're the cleaner, aren't you?" "Yes," she replied quietly. "Come forward." I'm just watching." "Then let us watch you. Unless, of course, you have nothing to offer." The room held its breath. A few students smirked. Others looked curious. One girl, Anna, Marisol remembered, looked sympathetic, her hands folding over her lap in quiet hope. Marisol stood. Her knees trembled. She walked toward the stage like she was approaching a cliff. She didn't want this. She hadn't asked for this. But something in her refused to retreat. Miranda gestured to a violin in its velvet case. "Let's see if the cleaning lady remembers how to play." Marisol lifted the instrument. Though it felt familiar and foreign, the bow slid against her palm, slippery with nerves. Her fingers hovered. Her breath caught. Her heart beat too fast. She closed her eyes. Her father's voice rose from memory. "Music doesn't care where you come from, only where you let it take you." She played. The first note was thin, nervous, a ghost. The second note was fuller. By the third, her body had begun to sway. She wasn't on the stage anymore. She was 12 again, barefoot in her grandmother's courtyard, the summer air thick with jasmine. She was 16, crying on a train platform, not because she lost, but because her music had made an old man cry. She was 22, moments before disaster, full of hope and fear and fire. Now she let it pour out of her. The notes weren't perfect. Her wrist tensed at moments. The bow stuttered on a run. But the sound was real, raw. It carried loss and resilience and love and time. It told a story no sheet music could. The room was still. Even the boy who made the cruel joke, Daniel, Marisol learned later, sat frozen, his face unreadable. When the final note fell like a breath into silence, the moment hung. Then Miranda spoke. You stole that interpretation. The words cut the air. A gasp rolled through the room. Miranda stepped forward. That phrasing, those rhythms, they're not taught. Not anywhere. Where did you learn it? Marisol met her eyes. I didn't learn it, she said. I lived it. Before Miranda could respond, a soft sound creaked from the back. A cane tapping the ground. An elderly man in a wool blazer and scarf made his way slowly toward the stage. Dr. Benedict Marlowe. A hush fell. Marlowe was a legend, a music historian known for his work reviving lost traditions. He hadn't attended a student performance in over a decade. That, he said, voice rich and slow, was Andalusian folk phrasing. Zahara lineage. Nearly extinct. Miranda blinked. I beg your pardon? It hasn't been formally documented in over 70 years, he continued. Passed only by ear. By family. It's a living history. Marisol's hands trembled on the violin. My grandfather, she whispered. He used to play like that. On a cracked violin behind our house. I copied him. Dr. Marlowe smiled. And because of you, it lives. He turned to the audience. She is not just a performer. She is a vessel. A bridge to a sound we nearly lost. The students began to clap. Softly at first. Then louder. Anna stood. Tears shimmered in her eyes. Then others joined. Even Daniel. Miranda remained still, then slowly nodded. Her expression transformed. I came to teach, she said. But today, I was taught. She bowed. Thank you, Miss Vega. Hours later, as the sun dipped behind the rooftops of London, Marisol walked alone down the marble steps of the conservatory. Her apron was folded in her bag. In her hands, she carried the violin case. Behind her, the great hall stood quiet, except for the echo of a moment no one would forget. Miss Vega. She turned. It was Director Langston, the head of the conservatory. I saw what you did, he said. You lit up that room. I'm just a housekeeper, she replied. He shook his head. No, you're an artist. You always have been. We just didn't know how to listen. He handed her a card. I want you on staff. As a teacher. As a performer. If you'll say yes. Tears rose in her eyes. She nodded. A few blocks away, Camila ran up the sidewalk, arms flung wide. Mama, did they let you play? Marisol knelt, embracing her. No, mi amor, she whispered. They asked me to. Back at Studio 4, the whiteboard bore new writing. Guest artist, Marisol Vega. And below it, in messy handwriting, my mama makes music. Some voices don't need stages. They need silence. Space. A chance. Marisol had always been more than her title. And now the world would finally hear her. End.